Hey everybody, welcome back and thanks for visiting Just the Best Partz. I'm SP and I'm back in the chair where I celebrate all the best parts of Star Wars culture and the fandom with an artistic vibe. Not only do I love these films and shows, I also love the books, the games, the cosplay, the fan films, the fan art, the fanfic, and of course comics, which is the topic of today's video. So today we're going to take a closer look at my favorite comic books that are set to release this year. I should warn you up front though, there will be spoilers, so you best duck out now. And with that, it's time to Star Wars, you glorious bantha herders. So what I think they were trying to do with the comics is kind of fill in the gaps that the novels had. And just like the books, it was in 3 phases. So phase 1, you had these amazing characters like Keeve and Skier, Avar Kriss, all these really, really cool characters with all kinds of these unique abilities. I thought that the story writing was phenomenal. I thought that the artwork was phenomenal. But here's where it gets better. I'm probably in a minority here, but I liked phase 2 better than I liked phase 1. And the thing about phase 2 is that it takes place 382 BBY. So what you're seeing is it's actually going back in the past. It's almost set up. In fact, it is exactly set up the way the trilogies are set up. You have the original trilogy, and then you go back to the prequels, and then you go fast forward to the sequels. So you have phase 1, which is the middle of the High Republic, and then phase 2 goes back a couple hundred years, and then phase 3 picks up where phase 1 left off about a year later. But phase 2 was my personal favorite. I wouldn't say that there's less action, but I think what it is that the action is more localized. It's more about the characters, right? And this whole thing that develops, which is this battle on Jedha. And it's absolutely amazing to watch this unfold. And of course, phase 3 is still in progress. There's some really great twists in phase 3. The saddest thing for me though is this is it. This concludes the High Republic run of comics. It's been a really great ride. I just really enjoyed watching a bunch of artists create this new Star Wars world. And it shows that they really loved what they were doing. And now moving on to the High Republic adventures, we've got the same structure. And this series, I believe, had a little bit more of a YA, a young adult reader type of vibe. I didn't like the art style as much in this one. I felt that the art was convoluted. Again, great characterization in this phase with Lula Talasola. You got Zine. You got Marchion Ro, which is a big one. You got Crix. These are all really well fleshed out characters, and they have very unique stories. And again, phase 2 goes backwards into time to 382 BBY. But what's interesting in this phase is it's really about this Padawan, and her name is Sav Maligan. And what she's trying to do is kind of distance herself from the Jedi. So she wants to be a pirate. And so who does she hook up with? She hooks up with Maz Kanata. You've got this very young, svelte Dexter Jetster. You've got Therm Scissor Punch in there. And this story is actually really, really good. Phase 3, honestly, to be honest, I haven't gotten too far into phase 3, so I don't really have much to say about that. And then you've got these new arcs that are coming out called Echoes of Fear, Saber for Hire, Dispatches from the Occlusion Zone. I'm not really sure what these are all about yet, but I'm looking forward to reading them. So in total, I think that all of the High Republic era books have been awesome. I love the world that they've created. I think that these comics add so much to the novels and to the lore. I think that the High Republic initiative is truly amazing in its scope and its size, and I'm really sad to see it coming to its conclusion. Kelnaka. I thought this was interesting. I didn't know this was in the works. Now understand that the Acolyte takes place on the tail end of the High Republic. I'm thinking that this the Acolyte is kind of like 95 to 100 BBY, somewhere around there. So this is the tail end of the era of the High Republic. I don't know much about this, but I want to see a Jedi Wookiee. There doesn't seem to be a lot out there about it. I know it's a Cavan Scott joint. It's a single issue, and maybe this will help flesh out his character a little bit better from what we saw in the Acolyte. Now we got Darth Maul, black, white, and red. And all I'm going to say is just do yourself a favor and check out this 4-issue run. I love this series so much. The last issue just came out a day or so ago, depending on when I get this video done, and it did not disappoint. If you're a fan of the Vader Black, White, and Red, you'll love this. He is a complete beast in this, and I just absolutely love the art. There were some panels in there that were just so effing brilliant, man. I cannot even tell you. So definitely go check that one out. It's really, really good. Okay, Star Wars Inquisitors. I don't know anything about this one. I know that there's 1 or 2 issues out already. You know, I've always liked the Inquisitors, so I'm looking forward to it, you know. I believe this is a 4-issue run as well. Okay, and then we have, of course, Star Wars, Darth Vader. What to say about this 50-issue run? You know, I'm going to be honest and say that it has not been my favorite of the Vader comics. I mean, it was still good, don't get me wrong, but there was some weird things going on in it. You got this whole Vader's Angel arc with the handmaidens, and then you got the whole Kitster arc with pod racing. I thought that was really weird, but I really did like the whole War of the Bounty Hunters, the Spark Eternal crossover stuff a lot. I thought that was great, the whole Crimson Dawn stuff. I really enjoyed all that. And also the art was amazing. You know, you can't really go wrong with some of these. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite compared to some of the other Vader runs. The Star Wars run. This is the same as the Darth Vader run. We're concluding the Star Wars comic at 50 issues as well. I've really enjoyed this run a lot. I loved watching Luke Skywalker's transformation into becoming more of a Jedi. We still have a few questions out there, namely how did Lando become a general after the Battle of Tanab? You know, I really hope we get some answers to that before the next run, which will take place after Return of the Jedi. Which brings me to Star Wars Battle for Jakku. I think I'm most excited about this one. This also is a 4-issue run. I think this series is going to start the kickoff for the new Star Wars series in 2025. I've heard that they are not doing a 50-issue run, but rather 3 runs of 4. I'm pumped for this one. I cannot wait to see how they start to bridge the gap to the sequels. And will we see Iden Versio and Del and all the characters that we saw from the Battlefront 2 campaign? Are they going to play into the comics as well? I mean, they were there at the Battle of Jakku. And these are basically all of the comics that I'm most excited about. And also, I just wanted to give a special shout out to the Bounty Hunter run. I enjoyed this one so much. It's one of my all-time favorites. There's just so many great characters. I especially loved Valance. I loved his character. And, you know, he's an OG character from back in '77. Yeah, as you can see here. So they brought his ass back, and he turned out to be one of my favorite Star Wars characters in a very long time. He is cool as hell, and he's got a hell of a great story. You know, they had Zuckuss and 4LOM in there. They were both great. Dengar was classic. You got Deathstick, who was a complete badass. She was fantastic. So definitely check this one out if you haven't yet. Or better yet, you know what? Get over to Kyle Katarn's channel and check out Comics by Katarn. He does this Cole read and reaction, and it's just fantastic. So this pretty much rounds out all my favorite comics being released this year. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't been reading the Star Wars comics, I suggest you give it a shot. You know, there are some fantastic storylines out there that enrich and make Star Wars a better place to visit. It's well worth it. So until next time, thanks for visiting Just the Best Partz. I'm SP, and I'll see you soon.